It's no accident you found this video. You're here for a reason, and it might be bigger than you realize. Let's dive in and explore why. Do you ever feel like something is missing? Like there's a void in your life, a longing for something more? We chase success, relationships, and experiences, yet a quiet emptiness often remains. This emptiness points to a deeper truth. We were created for more than this world offers. True freedom and purpose aren't found in our own striving but in surrendering to our Creator. It's in giving back to God what is rightfully His. This journey begins with a simple yet profound question. What does it mean to surrender to God? In Mark chapter 12 verse 17, Jesus tells us to give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. This statement goes beyond taxes. It challenges us to examine every area of our lives. What belongs to God? He asks for our trust, our love, our obedience. He desires our dreams, our fears, our very selves. He longs for us to surrender control and allow Him to lead us into His perfect plan. It's a call to relinquish our grip on the illusion of control and embrace the freedom found in surrender. Genesis chapter 1 verse 27 tells us, "So God created mankind in His own image, in the image of God He created them, male and female He created them." This profound statement is not just a historical note, it is a declaration of our intrinsic value and identity. God created mankind in His own image. This means every person, regardless of their background, culture, or status, carries a piece of the divine within them. It is a unifying truth that transcends all human-made divisions. This means we are inherently His. Our worth is not determined by our achievements, possessions, or social standing, but by the simple fact that we are His creation. We belong to Him, not because of what we do, but because of who He is. His love and grace are the foundation of our identity. Imagine the peace that comes from knowing you are loved unconditionally, not for what you can offer, but simply for who you are. Imagine borrowing something valuable from a friend, only to discover it was yours all along. This realization can be both humbling and enlightening. It shifts our perspective from striving to earn worth to embracing the worth we already possess. You might feel embarrassed, even foolish, for holding on to something that was rightfully yours, but this is a common human experience. We often forget our true identity and worth, getting lost in the pursuit of external validation. That's what we do when we try to control our lives. We juggle responsibilities, chase after goals, and strive for success, all the while forgetting that our true value is not in what we achieve, but in who we are. We clutch at the illusion of ownership, forgetting we were made by Him and for Him. Our attempts to control every aspect of our lives often lead to stress and dissatisfaction. True peace comes from recognizing that we are not the ultimate authority over our lives. We strive for control, yet true freedom lies in surrendering to the one who already holds it all. Letting go of our need to control can be liberating. It allows us to live more fully, trusting that our lives are in the hands of a loving Creator. Surrender is not defeat. It's recognizing the truth of our belonging. It is an act of faith, trusting that the one who made us knows what is best for us. In surrender, we find true peace and purpose. It's about aligning ourselves with the one who knows us best and desires the best for us. When we live in alignment with our Creator, we experience a deeper sense of fulfillment and joy. We are free to be our true selves, knowing that we are loved and valued beyond measure. Holding on to our plans, our desires, and our perceived control comes at a cost. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 3 reminds us, "Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will be established." When we resist God's call, we choose our limited perspective over His infinite wisdom. We miss out on His blessings, His guidance, and the fullness of life He intends for us. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who faced the consequences of holding back. From Jonah's flight from Nineveh to the rich young ruler who couldn't let go of his possessions, we see the pain and missed opportunities that come from resisting God's call. We may not always understand His ways or His timing, but we can trust that He knows the path to our true purpose and happiness. Surrender is not a passive resignation. It's an active choice to trust God with every aspect of our lives. It means letting go of our own plans and desires and instead, embracing the path that God has laid out for us. This can be challenging, especially when we are faced with uncertainties and trials. However, It is in these moments of surrender that we find true peace and strength. It's a daily decision to acknowledge His authority, align our actions with His will, and trust His timing. Each day presents new opportunities to surrender, whether it's in our relationships, our work, or our personal struggles. By consistently choosing to trust God, we build a deeper relationship with Him and grow in our faith. Psalm 37 verse 5 encourages us, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this." This verse reminds us that surrender is not just a one-time event, but a continuous process. It involves committing every aspect of our lives to God and trusting that He will guide us and provide for us. Surrendering to God begins with acknowledging His authority in our lives. It means recognizing that He is the creator and sustainer of all things, and that His wisdom far surpasses our own. When we acknowledge His authority, we are able to let go of our need for control and allow Him to lead us. It's recognizing that He is God and we are not. This realization can be both humbling and liberating. It frees us from the burden of trying to manage everything on our own and allows us to rest in the knowledge that God is in control. It's humbling ourselves before Him and seeking His guidance in all things. When we humble ourselves, we open our hearts to receive His wisdom and direction. This humility is essential for true surrender, as it allows us to put aside our own agendas and seek God's will above all else. Next, we align our actions with our faith. This means living out our beliefs in practical ways, such as showing kindness to others, being honest in our dealings, and serving those in need. Our actions should reflect our commitment to God and demonstrate our trust in His plan for our lives. We ask ourselves, what does it look like to live a life surrendered to God? It looks like making choices that honor Him, even when they're difficult or require sacrifice. It means prioritizing our relationship with God above all else and being willing to follow Him wherever He leads. We make choices that honor Him, even when they're difficult or require sacrifice. This might mean giving up something we value or stepping out of our comfort zone to help others, but in doing so, we demonstrate our trust in God's goodness and our commitment to His purposes. Finally, we learn to trust God's timing. This can be one of the hardest aspects of surrender, as it requires patience and faith. We may not always understand why things happen the way they do, but we can trust that God's timing is perfect and that He is working all things for our good. His plans may not always align with our own, but we can rest assured that His ways are higher than ours. When we trust in His timing, we can find peace in the midst of uncertainty and hope in the midst of waiting. Surrender is a journey of letting go and allowing God to work in and through us. It's a continuous process of trusting, obeying, and aligning our lives with His will. As we embrace surrender, we discover the true freedom and joy that comes from living in harmony with God's perfect plan. Surrendering to God is not a sign of weakness. It's an act of immense courage. It means acknowledging that we are not in control of everything, and that there is a higher power guiding us. This act of surrender is a profound declaration of faith, a testament to our trust in God's plan for our lives. It is in these moments of surrender that we find our true strength, not in our own abilities, but in the divine support that we receive. It takes courage to let go of our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities. We often hold on to these negative emotions because they are familiar, even though they weigh us down. Letting go requires us to step into the unknown, to trust that there is something better waiting for us on the other side. It is a leap of faith, a bold move that can transform our lives in ways we never imagined, and our desire for control. We like to think that we can manage every aspect of our lives, but the truth is, there are many things beyond our control. By surrendering, we acknowledge our limitations and open ourselves up to divine intervention. This act of letting go is not about giving up, it's about giving in to a higher wisdom that knows what is best for us. It takes trust to believe that He knows what's best for us, even when we don't understand. Trusting in God's plan means having faith that everything happens for a reason. Even if that reason is not immediately clear to us, it means believing that there is a greater purpose behind every event in our lives, and that purpose is ultimately for our good. This trust is the foundation of our relationship with God, a relationship built on love, faith, and hope. But in that surrender, we find a peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace is not just the absence of conflict or stress, it is a deep, abiding sense of calm that comes from knowing we are in the hands of a loving God. It is a peace that fills our hearts and minds, allowing us to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. This peace is a gift, a blessing that comes from our willingness to trust and surrender. We discover a purpose that ignites our souls and sets our hearts ablaze. This purpose is not something we create on our own, it is revealed to us through our relationship with God. It is a calling that resonates deeply within us, inspiring us to live our lives with passion and intention. When we align ourselves with this divine purpose, we experience a sense of fulfillment and joy that is unmatched by anything the world can offer. We experience the fullness of life that comes from living in alignment with our Creator. This fullness is not about material wealth or external success, it is about the richness of our inner lives, the depth of our relationships, and the joy of living in harmony with God's will. It is a life of abundance, not in terms of possessions but in terms of love, peace, and purpose. God's love for us is unwavering. His promises are eternal. No matter what we go through, we can trust that His love will never fail us. His promises are a source of hope and strength, guiding us through the darkest times and leading us into the light. They remind us that we are never alone, that we are always held in the embrace of a loving God. When we surrender to Him, we open ourselves to the abundance of His blessings and the joy of walking in His will. These blessings are not just material, they are spiritual and emotional, enriching our lives in ways we never thought possible. The joy of walking in His will is a joy that comes from knowing we are living our lives in accordance with His divine plan, a plan that is designed for our ultimate good. Surrender is not the end of our story, it's the beginning of an extraordinary adventure with the one who knows us best and loves us most. This adventure is filled with moments of awe and wonder, challenges that help us grow and experiences that deepen our faith. It is a journey that leads us closer to God, helping us to understand His love and grace in new and profound ways. In surrendering, we embark on the greatest adventure of all, a life lived in the fullness of His love and purpose. Take a moment to reflect on your life. What are you holding on to that you need to surrender to God? Let go. Give it all to Him. Trust in His love, His wisdom, and His perfect plan for your life. The journey to freedom and purpose doesn't end with surrender. It's a lifelong adventure filled with challenges and triumphs, joys and sorrows. In our next exploration, we'll delve into overcoming fear, a powerful force that can hinder us from experiencing the fullness of God's plan. Until then, may you find peace and courage in surrendering to the one who holds your heart in His hands. Don't forget to subscribe and share this video with your friends and family. Let's thrive together.